Welcome back to the studio. This is what we're going to paint. We had some snow here in the Northeast. And if you're not great at drawing or you don't want to take the time to draw, I'm going to show you a little trick where we can kind of trace this onto this board. You can take the photograph over to a window in the shop. So this is facing forward. We'll flip it around. You can see, you're able to see right through. I'm going to trace it with a charcoal pencil. And I'm just getting some of the detail. It doesn't have to be super specific. It really depends on your style, what you want to do. But this just gives you some ideas of where to start. So if you like to, even if you'd like to just like make your own coloring book, you could do that. There's a shadow in here. We have some lighter colors over here, some darker colors here. And that just gives me an idea. I'm going to take this back over to the easel and cut this out and then transfer it onto the board. I'm just going to take a straight edge and cut this out. Now you can take your wooden panel, put your photograph on top of it. That's why it's kind of nice to paint on wood or some type of a hard surface, because you'll be able to transfer your drawings easier. And you can, like I said, you can put a lot of details in these things. It's just going to take longer to do that. But now I've kind of got something to go off of here. There's my photograph or my drawing. So now I don't have to draw. I'll put the photograph underneath so I can reference it. We'll go ahead and dive in on that tree trunk, start to mix up some color for it. Grabbing a little white, some raw umber. I'll mix that up. And maybe just a little bit of blue to cool it down a little bit. This is cobalt blue. We'll just get some notes of color on the canvas. I know it's a board, but I'll just call it a canvas, or maybe I'll go back and forth. Sometimes I forget what I'm saying. All right, we'll throw that color right in there. You always want to be aware of light. The light's coming from this side, so this side of the trunk will be lighter. Maybe we'll add some lighter colors to it a little bit later. And maybe I won't even paint all the way over to that side. And while we have this paint, maybe we'll just to kind of take some of the pressure off, just throw some notes in the background over here. That's good. Maybe now we'll go ahead and just get some color down for this snow. And for that, I'll start with white, throw a little yellow in there. So a little white, a little bit of yellow, maybe a tiny bit of that raw umber. And I'm going to lighten that up some more with more white. And I might use a little paint thinner on the brush to really wash that color in. We can hold this up to the photograph to see how close we are with a color match. So if we look at that, it looks pretty good, I think. So let's get some paint on a brush. Maybe a little paint thinner. Just go ahead and get some of that in there. Make sure. Where's my, oh, I'm not even looking at the thing. There we go. Didn't have the camera pointed in the right place. So we'll go ahead and throw that up here, up into this. I think when we start to throw some of the, it's like the cooler blues that are the shadows that are created by the tree. And some of the other trees back here, this might start to come to life. We can do that now, actually. You always want to be enjoying the process. You know, if you feel like doing something on the painting, just do it. Don't feel like, oh, you have to do this before that. Doesn't really matter. Coming back down to the palette. And we're going to mix up a color to hopefully represent those shadows. There's some blue. We'll grab some of this white over here. And maybe I'll just grab some of this color that I mixed up earlier. And again, you can kind of pick that color up with your palette knife. Hold it up to the photograph. See what we think. It's not too bad. I think the photograph color might be a little bit darker. It's easier to go darker, so let's throw this in even though it's lighter. I'll remember to bring the camera up. And let's see what we got. Take the paint right off the palette. Maybe this is going to make sense immediately. We'll see. No. Put some of that color over here. I think I put the white where I wasn't supposed to, but that's all right. Bring it over here. There's a lot of muted greens back here, which I think could work nicely if it works. I never know when a painting's going to work. I just know a day or two later that it did work or it didn't. So just kind of go for it. Like I always say, if it doesn't work out, it's a small painting, no big deal. Just put it to the side, sand it down, paint over it. But if you can end up capturing a painting or a moment in a painting, it's amazing. You'll remember that moment. Like I'll remember when I took this photograph when I was out on a hike. That's a nice thing about painting. And another nice thing, because I like ChatGPT because it makes it very easy to write. I'm not a great writer. I've always been dyslexic. So I can describe that and then have ChatGPT help me kind of get my ideas down and write a little something about it, which is kind of cool. All right, let's mix up let's just get some kind of greens for that background area. And we'll start with permanent green. And a little bit of this yellow. And again, I'm not really as interested in the specific recording of this image as I am, you know, the sort of the feeling of it. And, you know, take a picture if you want it to be perfect. So there's that. Let's go ahead and throw some white in here. I think I'm going to end up throwing a little bit of, I might take half of this, put it here, a little raw umber, put that in there. And we'll just put this note up in the background there. Kind of a nice color. Let's see how that goes. See, I can see those shadows already making sense. All right, so let's put a little bit of this right here. kind of a winter green feel. And I'll put a little bit over here. And just to kind of get some more down there, do that. And let's get some grays in there, some lighter grays. For that, I'm going to, I might kind of mix these, like let these run into each other a little bit. So grab that, a little more white. Maybe a little paint thinner on the brush to help move the paint around. I just noticed there's a lot of red on this brush, so I don't really want to use it. Maybe this one's good. Paint thinner again. Grab that. I think the darks, if I can get some darks in there, I'll just show you the photograph. Down here, you have all these darks, which is the absence of light, and that should create space. You have it here and you have it over here. So we'll mix something up a little darker. And I'm going to throw a little black in there. Maybe a little more black. I really think it's good to go at these paintings in a very carefree style, with the idea that if the painting doesn't work out, it's going to be easier to work on it the next day. So paint it 2 or 3 times, and that'll give you something nice to work off of. You'll start to build up texture. Go ahead and throw that in there, see how it goes. So just color spots. It'll be interesting to see what happens when all these sort of blend together, if it works or if it doesn't. But I'm just going to keep going for it. I might mix up something a little bit lighter this time. I forget what that. Let's take this white. Let's see what happens over here. And I can always put more of those green notes in if I want to. Like this side of the painting has more. If we look at the photograph, there's a little bit more darks and greens over here. I'll just go ahead and it kind of makes it easier once you don't have white. White can just be a little intimidating. I think I'll go like this. And then let's get some of those darks in there. It's like a green and a raw umber. And don't forget, this side of the tree still needs to be painted. And a little bit dark in here. Maybe a little bit dark in here. And we may end up throwing some highlights in on the snow. That might work. Let's a little bit of green in here. and maybe a little bit more of this lighter color. Now we'll deal with this side of the tree trunk, and I'll grab a lighter kind of a gray. Take some of this white, mix it in with this gray. So the left side is lighter and the right side is darker. This is also a good thing to think about. If the painting's getting away from you, definitely step away from it and then come back later when it's a little dry, and you'll be able to get those colors in. Let me see if I have better. This is my little painting cabinet. I've got a bunch of brushes in it. So we'll grab this lighter color and bring the there we go. Maybe zoom in a little bit. And let's just put this right down the side. And it looks like the lower part of the tree is darker. And I can get a darker color in there and try to define that line a bit. So, it's not even a paintbrush. Let's see, a little bit of that umber in here. And let's get this like, this can be kind of a sharper line because the snow goes right up to the trunk. And I'm going to kind of do that on this other side here too. And maybe I'll take a dry brush and sort of blend that together. Try to pull those. Geez, I gotta really get some better brushes. This one's better. Just try to soften that up a little bit. The shadow almost defines the tree more so than the hard line of the trunk. So the shadow down here. I'll take a dry brush and just sort of blend these together a little bit. Just so it's not so, the edges aren't so hard. If you think about it, you kind of squish everything together with your eye. You don't really get that ultra detailed image when you sort of look at it and look away. In a photograph it catches it, but not really in your eye. So I just like to kind of soften things up a little bit. It's also a way of saying, okay, I'm kind of tired of working on this painting. Let's just kind of finish it up. Let's get it to a passable point where I can start to look at it. Maybe I'll go back into it, but I don't want to work on it anymore. At least for like another 10 minutes, maybe another 5 minutes. There's some areas over here that I want to tighten up. So we go down here, you can see this hard line. I might just try a little bit of white right out of the tube. So I'll do that. And you get that hard line that you get from snow because it's just a white line on top of everything. This white might be a little severe, but we'll see. Damn it, I didn't have the camera in the right spot. I just put this line right here. And what we can do though is we'll continue it. Like there's not really a shadow over here, so this should sharpen it up a little bit too. Yeah, that kind of gives you that feeling of light. And let's put a little bit right here. Sort of very bright right in here. And if we look at the photograph, there's a little bit of snow right here, and that might create some depth in the painting. And I'll try to get some dabs over here too. Like the idea is, once this goes in, all of a sudden your eye is looking through. I don't know if that'll work, we'll see. Just going to brighten it up right over here, and I think I'm going to call it quits. Maybe a little bit right there. This white is bugging me. Just going to try to make it a little less. Maybe that's better. All right, so here's the photograph, and there's the painting. Let's see what it looks like in a frame. Okay, here it is in a dark mahogany frame. And we'll go ahead and throw it in this fancy gold frame just to see what it looks like. Kind of like the dark mahogany frame. I do like the painting. Right now I'm liking it. I think I like the darker frame better. Definitely changes it. Huh. So to clean the palette, I'm just taking one of the brushes that I've been using that has paint thinner on it. And I just scribble it around. And I'll get a clean paper towel. If you like these painting videos, please leave a comment, share it with a friend. I have a goal of trying to do one a week for this year. It's my 2026 goal. And I will put a link to all the colors that I use. I'll have to find them on Amazon or something. It's not that many. I think it's like 8 or 10 colors. And the paint thinner. But I'll try to get that done. But anybody can paint, and the more you paint, the better you get. I think that that's a lot better than the painting that I started when I started this 3 weeks ago. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.